Good afternoon, Desmore.
Good afternoon. Good to see you, Mr. Jordan. Miss Bridgewater, how are you this afternoon?
I am some kind of wonderful, Your Honor. How about you?
Well, I'm not quite that good, but
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. The
yes,
return date is October 29th.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Good afternoon, courtroom two. Whenever you're ready for me to make the announcement, let me know.
Judge, you can start your announcement.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we are providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their services. For those of you that are joining us on by video this afternoon, I'm happy to have you here. But please conduct yourselves as if you were actually in a courtroom with me. I don't want you walking around. I don't want you eating food. I want you dressed appropriately. Okay. When we get to your case, we will sound for you, and we're happy for any input that you have. Who do we have first today?
Your Honor, it's going to be position number 2, Miss Avery, Madison Avery.
And Judge, this is a co-defendant case with position 12.
Okay, thank you. Let me make sure before I get started that we have the public defenders on the line. It's right at 2 o'clock. Is anyone from the public defender's office with me?
Oh, boy.
Okay, courtroom 2 will, Norris, as soon as I get someone on the line, I will proceed. Is Miss Avery represented by a public defender or by someone from the
We were told there was no need for conflicts today.
that there was no need for conflicts?
Yeah, that's what I was told by PD Cook.
Okay, so I'm not sure where PD Cook is, or I'm not sure if it's going to be Mr.
Mike
McClain
McClain.
or not, but neither of them are on the line as of yet. It does not appear. So,
Okay. Your Honor, we can actually probably go to Alpharetta Annex. They have the private attorney case over there.
okay.
Alpharetta.
Are they on the line?
They were. I just seen. Yeah, they're on.
Okay. And Mr. McClain, where's Mr. Cook? Do you know?
He's signing on. I think we have some digital problems in our fingers.
Okay, in courtroom 2, we have Madison Avery, who represents Miss Avery this afternoon.
The defender office will represent Mr. Cook. However, I will get on the phone and ask Miss Jordan to be represented by Maureen or Dennis or by Miss Watson Cafe or somebody.
Okay, I'm sorry, you were going in and out on me, Mr. McClain. Is someone represented at the present time, Miss Avery, or we need a conflict?
Mr. Cook will.
I'm representing Miss Avery.
Okay, all
I
right.
didn't see anything in the conflict in my uh, um, affidavit, but Mr. McClain found it with somebody. Okay, now I'm ready for Miss Avery.
Okay. Good afternoon, Miss Avery. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007044F with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and disorderly conduct. Is there a history? Who do we have on? Yes, good afternoon, Miss Hardy.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This defendant does not have any history to report at this time.
Good afternoon, thank you. Ms. Desiano, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident happened at the Publix at 3695 Cascade Road on October 13th. There is a co-defendant with this case, position 12, Malaysia Jordan. I'll go ahead and give you the facts of everything while we're doing this. The officer was working at the Publix off duty when she observed the self-checkout clerk, whose name is Ashley Douglas, announce repeatedly that the self-checkout registers were for card only, you could not use cash. At that point, the defendant in position 12, Miss Jordan, told the clerk, B, you don't have to keep saying that shit. The clerk told her that she was just doing her job. Miss Jordan then started to walk toward the exit and turned around to the clerk and said, B, who you talking to? I will slap the S out of you. The officer at that point intervened and told Miss Jordan to leave the store. She ignored the officer's commands, rushed toward the clerk, stated she wanted to fight her. She was going to whoop her butt, didn't care if she went to jail, things of that nature. And at this point, the officer had tried to arrest Miss Jordan. And that's when the defendant in front of you, her girlfriend, Miss Avery, grabbed the officer's hands and tried to help Miss Jordan get away from the officer. At that point, both of the defendants began to shout profanities and threats to fight while refusing to leave the store. The officer then attempted to arrest the defendant before you, Miss Avery, and she snatched her hands away and fled the scene with Miss Jordan in their vehicle. However, there was another officer that was in the parking lot and he was able to stop them at that point. Both parties were arrested. As it relates to Miss Avery, Your Honor, we're requesting a signature bond through pretrial, no contact with the clerk, Ashley Douglas, stay away from that Publix at 3695 Cascade Road, anger awareness course, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And if Your Honor can sound for Miss Douglas, thank you.
Miss Ashley Douglas is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no problem with the stay away, no for the contact. I guess the obstruction does not make jail an option. We would certainly seek that if possible. Beyond that, we have no objection to the state's recommendation.
Okay, for each charge, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ashley Douglas, stay away from the Publix on Cascade Road, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Miss Avery.
You can go to the co-defendant, Your Honor, position number 12, Jordan.
Okay, and who's representing Miss Jordan?
Miss McLeod will. She needs a chance to interview her, I believe, on the phone.
So, Judge, I did speak with Miss McLeod, so she's gonna log on, but she said she was in her office, so she can take the case.
I know, I thought you spoke to McLean, but,
Yeah, that was a mistake.
okay. Your Honor, we're gonna go to Alpharetta Annex.
Okay, and who is there?
Judge, we have Ms. Perez Gutierrez.
She's position 14.
Okay,
Your Honor, we have asked for the Spanish interpreter for Mr. Reyes, but Miss Perez also feels like she would benefit from that, and she was requesting it herself. Her English, frankly, is pretty good, but I think it's quite good. But for her understanding, I can understand why she might want to feel that she would need an interpreter to understand better.
are we going to have an interpreter on the line this afternoon, Mr. Jordan?
Miss Chancey's gonna log on, but she hasn't logged on yet.
Okay, so we'll have to wait for the Spanish interpreter for Ms. Perez Gutierrez. So we'll be back with you, ma'am.
Would you like the other defendant up here in Alpharetta?
Okay,
Yeah,
who is
go to the next one. That's a private attorney, Your Honor.
okay? And who is that?
Mr. Falchio.
Position 7, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And good afternoon, Judge. That's my case, Benjamin Alper for Mr. Fekalos.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Alper.
Here he is.
Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Petrolis. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007040G with interference with government property, public drunk, and criminal trespass. Is there a history?
No.
Well, thank you, Mr. Petrolis. I was asking the pretrial. Ms.
Oh.
Hardy?
No, Your Honor, he does not have any history to report at this time.
Okay. Who's presenting for the state?
It is me, Your Honor.
Oh, good afternoon, Ms. Pratt Stafford. You can.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on Saturday at the Roswell Police Department at approximately 9:23 p.m. That evening, the defendant entered the Roswell Police Department's records building, and the defendant is seen kicking one of the interior doors on camera, at which point he then opens his pants fly and urinates near the counter on a mat. An officer then made contact with the defendant and was escorted out of the lobby. The officers had previously had contact with him approximately 2 hours prior, as the arresting officer had made contact at a traffic stop with the defendant and his wife, where it was determined that both he and his wife were heavily intoxicated, and she was arrested for a DUI. Due to the fact that this was just recent, as well as this, the incident location is the police department, the state is currently asking for $3,000 total in the surety bond, $1,000 for each count, Your Honor. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from the incident location.
Mr. Alper?
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. My client's 57 years old. As you just heard, he has no prior history. He's lived and worked here in Georgia for the past 20-something years. He's got a wife and 2 children. I'd ask for a signature bond, and obviously we're fine with the stay away conditions as well. Thank you.
For the interference with government property, it'd be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. For the public drunk, $500 signature bond through pretrial. For the criminal trespass, $500 signature bond through pretrial. Makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. Stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, Mr. Alper. Anything further this afternoon?
No, Your Honor, I'm all good. Thank you.
All right, very good. Have a good afternoon. Good luck to you, Mr. Petrolis.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 8, Ms. Glass.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Glass. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007049A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 1 arrest cycle. Their last arrest was February 14th, 2018 out of Riverdale for battery family violence. Nothing further to report.
Cristiano?
Your Honor, that case was null pros, is my understanding. This case happened on the 13th. Officers were dispatched to 6880 Rivertown Road regarding a domestic dispute. The victim in this case is Bridget Betts. She lives with the defendant, and the defendant has a child with her son as well. She stated that there was an argument over a missing cell phone. Her son, whose name is Brashawn Betts, got in between them to defuse the situation, and the defendant pepper sprayed her in the eyes. Officers also spoke to the son, Mr. Betts, who's the boyfriend of the defendant and the son of the victim. He stated that his mom came in yelling at him over the cell phone. She was yelling profanities, things of that nature. His girlfriend came to his defense. His girlfriend told his mom, basically, she's like, I'm not going to fight you, but I will pepper spray you. He then got in between them so they would not start physically fighting. He told the officers that mom did not try to hit her before the defendant pepper sprayed her. So at that point, the officers determined the defendant was the primary aggressor. She was arrested. The victim sustained red eyes and a swollen face from being pepper sprayed. We've not been in touch with Ms. Betts today. We're requesting a signature bond through pretrial, no contact, stay away, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And if you can sound for Ms. Betts, thank you.
If Bridget Betts is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. McClain, is this your case?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cook, is this your case?
Yes, sorry, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection to the signature bond. Would object to the anger awareness. We have no objection to any stay away or no further contact.
Okay, was that asked for, Mr. Esiato? I'm sorry. Who
Yes, Your
lives
Honor,
at
I did ask for anger awareness since it's going through pretrial.
No, I was asking about the Riverton Road address. Whose address is that?
It's unclear from the warrants, Your Honor, but I know both parties live there. Based on what the victim told the officers, it appears that the house is either the victim's home or the victim's father's home. I believe the defendant is living there, but she is not the owner, is my understanding, from what I can gather.
Okay, is that correct, Mr. Cook?
That's what I understand, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Bridget Betts, stay away from the Riverton Road address. She can go to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Glass.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 10,
Okay.
Keon Hardy.
Good afternoon. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007032J with criminal trespass and damage to property. To your history, Ms. Hardy.
This defendant has 17 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Alabama. Their last arrest was October 21st, 2022, out of Fulton County. That did result in a felony conviction for aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and criminal attempt to commit a felony. It appears that they're on probation, and the case number is 23 SC 190334. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Hutter, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, this incident did occur on October 12th. Officers responded at 1345 Donnelly Avenue in Southwest Atlanta. They were called there by the property owner, Mr. Reginald Walls, who reported he was trying to get Mr. Hardy, who had been staying with him for a few days, to leave, and Mr. Hardy was refusing. Officers were able to speak to Mr. Hardy calmly and get him to leave. However, a few hours later, officers got another call from the same location for this same complaint. When officers returned, they noted 4 broken flower pots and a broken mirror. Officers determined that Mr. Hardy was upset about and damaged the property after being told multiple times to leave. Your Honor, because of the fact that he is on active felony probation, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond, a stay away from 1345 Donnelly Avenue, and no further contact with Reginald Walls. And Your Honor, we would ask that you sound for the victim at the appropriate time.
Mr. Walls is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Okay. Mr.
That's
Cook.
mine. Yes, Your Honor. It's criminal trespass and damage to property, but we understand he's got this probation. So I suspect the surety bond is restricted or not in order. We would have no objection to a 1,000 surety with a stay away and no further contact.
All right. It'll be a $250 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Wall. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hardy.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 9, Mr. Henry Green.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Green. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007050C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 30 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Washington. Felony conviction in 2006 for possession of controlled substance. Misdemeanor convictions for battery in 2001. 2018, battery family violence. Their last arrest was July 2nd, 2023 out of East Point for battery family violence. And the case is open under 23 CP 219885. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Ms. Pratt Stafford.
Okay, yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred yesterday at 3269 Dodson Drive in East Point. Officers were dispatched to that location in reference to damage to property. When they arrived, they observed damage to the front screen door as well as a grill with its parts scattered over the front porch. Officers spoke to the defendant and he stated that the victim Carla Bynum, came into his residence and destroyed his home, including kicking the front door screen. He also stated that they had gotten into an argument for unknown reasons and informed the officers that the victim was not at the residence, but actually was down the street. The officers left and actually found the victim at an Exxon. And when they made contact with her, they observed that she was limping on her left leg as well as blood on her left ankle. When they spoke to her, she informed the officers that her and the defendant had got into a verbal altercation because the defendant had confronted her and demanded to have sex with her. And when she declined, he became upset. He grabbed her around the neck and proceeded to slam her against the ground. He then grabbed dishes from the counter and threw them across the room, and the glass scattered and struck her in her ankle. He then proceeded to grab her and throw her into the front screen door, which caused the damage that the officer had seen, and then later pushed her into the grill, which was located outside the residence. The officers observed not only the blood, but also black stains on the victim's clothing, which was consistent to the story that the victim told the officers. At this time, Your Honor, the state is actually asking for a $15,000 surety bond due to the fact that this just happened yesterday. In addition, Your Honor, that open case that is currently in the DA's office, this is the same victim, and the defendant was previously ordered to have no contact with her and to not be in that residence whatsoever. Additionally, Your Honor, we are asking for the no contact to stay in place, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and an anger management. And at the appropriate time, the state will ask that you call for the victim.
If Carla Bynum is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 60 years old, not currently working. We understand the situation and the current charges in felony court, but he's not working and he has no income. We would ask for a modest surety bond. We have no objection to a stay away or no further contact.
It'll be a $5,000 good bond, no further contact with Carla Bynum, stay away from the Dobson Drive address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Green.
Can I say something, sir?
Mr. Green, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'll have Mr. Cook, I'll give you a call so he can answer any of the questions that you might have, okay? So he'll call you after court today. Would you do that for me, Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever. Your Honor, we can go back to position number 12. Ms. Jordan?
Okay, and Norris, I also see that Ms. McLeod is on, so if you all want to make arrangements for her.
That is for Ms. McLeod. She interviewed her.
Oh, great, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, I got you.
Okay, thanks. Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, thank you for being here this afternoon. Good afternoon, Ms. Jordan. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007035D with disorderly conduct, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, and terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, this defendant does not have any history to report.
Anything to add to the, I know that Ms. McLeod wasn't here, I don't believe, when the facts were given for the co-defendant. So Ms. Huddock, if you would.
Redo the facts, Your Honor.
Would you mind, since Ms. McLeod wasn't here?
I'd be happy to, Your Honor. This did occur on the 13th of October at the Publix located at 3695 Cascade Road. At the time, the defendant was at the self-checkout when she became irate because Miss Ashley Douglas, who was an employee of Publix, and was working the section, announced multiple times that the registers did not accept cash. The defendant began to cuss at Miss Douglas. She then started to walk to the exit, but turned around and asked Ms. Douglas who she was talking to and threatened to strike her. She was told by the duty officer to leave the store. She ignored the officer and continued walking towards Ms. Douglas, saying she wanted to fight her and didn't care about going to jail. At that time, the officer told Ms. Jordan that she was under arrest and attempted to detain her with cuffs, but she pulled away. The co-defendant, who you heard earlier, was grabbing at the officer's hands, trying to get Ms. Jordan away from the officer. And at that time, that is when Ms. Jordan and her co-defendant ran out of the store, jumped in their car, and attempted to drive away, but were stopped by another officer on the scene. Your Honor, we are recommending in this case a $1,500 surety bond, $500 at each count, a stay away from the Publix and no further contact with Miss Ashley Douglas, and a one-day anger awareness, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, thank you. And Miss Douglas was not with us the last time. Has Miss Ashley Douglas joined the Zoom call? Doesn't appear so. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. I would be asking for a signature bond through the jail for my client. This is her first arrest. She is gainfully employed, lives in the Atlanta area, and has lived here for essentially all her life, Your Honor. This was an unfortunate incident, but I believe some of it is exaggerated based on what my client tells me. Nothing further, Your Honor.
It'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial per charge, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, one-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ashley Douglas, stay away from the Publix on Cascade Road, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Jordan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Ms. McLeod. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Who do we have next?
Next, we're gonna go to position number 1, Mr. Antonio Angie. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon, Mr. Angel. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007042J with criminal trespass and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was May 19th, 2024, out of Clayton County for simple battery, family violence. Misdemeanor conviction in 1996, criminal trespass and battery, 2004, simple assault, 2010, simple battery and obstruction. There's a felony conviction in 2018 for terroristic threats and acts. Bear with me one moment while I get the total number of cycles.
I have 30 cycles.
Okay, yeah, 30 cycles. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Jessiana?
And Your Honor, he also, it's not on his GCIC, but he does have a conviction for aggravated assault, simple assault, criminal trespass, criminal damage to property, and battery family violence. It's a case that there's no disposition listed on his GCIC. However, I did look it up. So that was in 2020. He served almost 4 years in prison for that. He was released from prison on February 27th of this year. This incident happened on the 12th at the Shell gas station at 1850 Metropolitan Parkway. The store manager advised the defendant entered the store and he was harassing customers and employees. The defendant is known to the store manager. He's been criminally trespassed from the location on September 8th. The officer also viewed security footage confirming the manager's account. The store manager pointed to the defendant, who was actually sitting in a chair across the street. The officer approached the defendant, told him he was under the arrest. He started cussing and ran, and then went back to the location he's been trespassed from, and he was eventually arrested, Your Honor. And given that he was just released from prison and has already been arrested 2 times, and he has an open case in Clayton County, Your Honor, the state's requesting a $1,000 good bond to stay away from the Shell, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 56 years old. He is homeless and has no employment. We understand the background. We would like the surety bond to be as low as possible.
Okay, I would like for him to have a social worker visit to assist him.
Yes, sir.
With help, to assist with housing. For each charge, it'd be a $250 good bond, makes for a total of a $500 good bond. Stay away from the Shell on Metropolitan Parkway and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If he does not get out before the SAP calendar, which will be on October 29th, I'll be on that calendar, and if you'll have that social worker or someone report to me regarding helping facilitate housing.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Angel.
Thank you, sir. Everybody have a good day. Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 4, position 4 and 5. Mr. Demetrius Davis.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Davis. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007046D with theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass, and in case 24 CR 007047D with theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Harden?
This defendant has 9 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Tennessee. Their last arrest was October 4th, 2024 out of Atlanta for theft by shoplifting. That case is open under 24 PI 003713. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I have that the open felony case is a shoplifting from, I have the incident date is May 25th. I believe the October 4th arrest that's on his GCIC is actually one of these incidents, Your Honor. This is, there's 2 incidents here. Position 4 happened on the 31st of August. Position 5 happened on the 25th of August. Both happened at the Kroger 725 Ponce de Leon. Officers responded to shopliftings on both occasions. On the incident on the 25th, the store manager advised the defendant was caught on surveillance filling a cart with several packs of crab legs, meat, seasoning, and detergent, and then exited with the cart through the back emergency exit, and it set off an alarm. The incident that happened on the 31st at the Kroger, the store manager advised the defendant was seen taking $150 worth of detergent from the location. He also stated that the same person was seen the day before shoplifting $120 worth of merchandise. The defendant was identified from the officers and the manager as someone that frequently shoplifts from this location. In addition to the 2 cases before the court today, he has 2 previous cases from shoplifting at this Kroger. One is from October 2023. It's not an Odyssey. I assume it's a municipal court case. And then the May 2024, which is the open felony matter, where he's accused of stealing over $700 worth of crab legs and detergent and other items. He also has an open bench warrant for failing to appear in that felony matter, and he's in violation of his bond in that case because he was ordered to stay away from the Kroger. The store manager also advised that the defendant is on probation for shoplifting, which may be related to the October 2023 incident. That's not an Odyssey. He says that according to the terms of that probation, he's also ordered to stay away from this location. In addition to the store manager's statements about the probation, the defendant is also on probation for possession and use of drug-related objects out of municipal court. And a condition of his probation that is very clearly listed on his GCIC is that he is supposed to also stay away from this Kroger. And again, Your Honor, in addition to everything I just said, the manager also states that this same suspect was seen on camera shoplifting from Kroger on several different incident dates in between on August 28th, August 30th, September 1st, and September 2nd. So there were possibly more warrants to come from this. And given his flagrant disregard for several court orders that have ordered him to stay away, we would certainly argue that there's a high risk of reoffense here. And with his felony FTA and his open shoplifting case, there's a concern he won't come to court. So we are asking for position 4, a $2,000 good bond, stay away from all Kroger's, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol, broken down as 1,000 each count. And the same recommendation for position 5, $2,000 surety bond, 1,000 each count, stay away from all Kroger's, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Thank you. Mr. Cook?
Yes, sir. My client is 36 years old. He lives with his uncle, Stone Mountain. He doesn't own a phone, is not employed, therefore has no income. Well, again, we understand the record. We would be asking for a surety bond, somewhat lower than a total of 4,000.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 good bond per charge. So on position number 4, it'll be a total of a $2,000 good bond. Stay away from the Kroger on Ponce, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. For position number 5, it'll be the same, $1,000 good bond per charge, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. Stay away from the Kroger on Ponce, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Good luck to you, Mr. Davis.
Go to the third row. Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 6, Mr. James Dawson. And we'll be logging on to courtroom 1 shortly for the Spanish interpreter.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Dawson, good afternoon. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007048G with criminal trespass, giving false information to law enforcement, and theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 14 arrest cycles out of Georgia, a misdemeanor conviction in 2003 for disorderly conduct, felony conviction in 2014, aggravated assault and a CWAC charge, 2007 aggravated battery, 2006 aggravated assault and false imprisonment. Their last arrest was June 26, 2024, out of MARTA for criminal trespass and disorderly conduct. Nothing further to report.
Is that open, Ms. Hardy? The criminal trespass?
It didn't give me any further information, and I couldn't tell if it was I wasn't able to find anything in Odyssey, so I'm thinking it wasn't Fulton County.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Yeah, Sharon, I've also checked. I believe it was out of DeKalb County, and it should be open given the date, but I can't confirm that. And this incident happened on the 11th at the Walmart at 844 Cleveland Avenue. Loss prevention stated that the defendant attempted to walk out of the store with approximately $130 worth of merchandise without paying. When the defendant was confronted, he told the officers his name was Richard Legrand. Multiple attempts were made to confirm his identity to no avail. The defendant did eventually provide his real name, and upon providing his real name, the officer discovered that the defendant had just been previously cited for shoplifting on September 28th, 2024 at a different Walmart location where he stole approximately $392 worth of merchandise. And at that point, the defendant was issued a permanent criminal trespass warning from all Walmart locations. And given his history, Your Honor, the state's requesting a $500 good bond on each count, so total $1,500. A stay away from all Walmarts in accordance with his lifetime ban, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 39 years old. He is homeless, and not working. So he has no income. I suspect no savings. We would ask well, I guess with the obstruction, you may be restricted on a signature bond, but we would certainly ask for the lowest possible surety bond the court can grant.
Homeless, I mean, I don't have no.
Okay, so I want him to have a social worker visit also, Mr. Cook,
Yes.
to assist with housing. For the criminal trespass, it'll be a $500 signature bond through pretrial. False information, a $500 signature bond through pretrial. Shoplifting, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. Stay away from all Walmarts, no drugs, alcohol, weapons. while out on bond at a social worker visit to assist with housing. Mr. Dawson, I'm gonna allow you to sign yourself out and give you a signature bond, but if I find that if you go back to a Walmart, I'm not gonna do that the next time. You understand me?
Yes, sir. Can I ask one question, sir? One question?
I'll have you ask Mr. Cook later, so that you have a right to remain silent. And anything that you say can be used against you, but Mr. Cook can speak to you and explain anything to you after court today, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Good luck to you, Mr. Dawson.
Thank you.
Your Honor, just one question. Did we get an add-on for Mr. William Edwards?
I did not get an add-on. I don't know if anyone else did, but I don't have an add-on.
So the
Is it-
issue with Mr. Edwards, the clerk contacted the jail. I believe Mr. Jordan can chime in there. It's hooked to a felony case and he can't unhook it. So I can accuse it really quickly if someone can unlink it to it was, I think is a typo, it was put into Odyssey as a felony. So we can't pull it in and process it on the misdemeanor side until that's fixed.
Okay.
However, he was arrested yesterday, so if we reset him to tomorrow, worst case, it won't be a Riverside issue.
Okay, Mr. Jordan?
So Judge, I just pulled the case up and the charge is still showing as a felony. It hasn't been corrected, but I can unlink the charges if they want to file the case. They just have to change the charge to a misdemeanor instead of a felony.
I can do that.
Okay, I'll unlink it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And next, Your Honor, is gonna be position number 11, Mr. Hooks.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Hooks. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007033F with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant, their last arrest was November the 10th, 2023 out of Fulton County for simple battery against law enforcement, obstruction, and disorderly conduct. They're being supervised on pretrial on that, so we'll be surrendering the bond. The case number is 23 CR 006990F. Nothing further to report.
Do you have that bond? Can you pull that bond up for me, Ms. Hardy?
Okay, bear with me one moment.
Okay. I just want to know what the terms were and if I was and what bond he was given at that time. Okay. I'll go while you're getting that together, I'll go on to Ms. Hutter.
Sure. In the meantime, Your Honor, so this incident did occur on October 12th of 2024. Officers were called to 315 Elder Street. When they got there, they spoke to the victim, in this case, who is the stepfather of Mr. Hooks, Mr. Kevin Brooks, who told officers that he and his stepson got into a fight after he told the defendant to do some yard work. The defendant refused, saying he wanted to go to a party and it wasn't his responsibility. At that point, the victim, Mr. Brooks, called his stepson a name, and the defendant struck Mr. Brooks in the mouth, causing 3 of his dentures to dislodge. Your Honor, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, and no further violent contact. We did speak to Mr. Brooks this morning. We would ask at the appropriate time that you would sound for the victim.
Mr. Kevin Brooks is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Okay, I see you there, Mr. Brooks. If you can unmute yourself for me. Okay.
Okay. How you doing, Your
All right.
Honor?
I'm doing fine. I hope you're as well. Can you raise your right hand for me? We're getting feedback from something, Mr. Brooks.
Hold on.
He's got 2 devices on. He's logged on. One as TCL917W. I'll just
Okay.
go ahead.
Thank you.
he should be good now. I'll put the other one away.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Mr. Brooks, are you with me?
Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, sir.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand for me, do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
So it happened accordingly. I mean, we both had a heated argument. I said some things that shouldn't have been said. He said some things that shouldn't have been said. And I understand. We all get mad at times. I don't have any ill will against my stepson. Like I told her this morning, he's welcome to come home. I really didn't want him in Carson. My thing was I just wanted him away so we both could have time away from each other because that was heated. And sometimes it just takes a moment for everybody to cool down and get the situation under control and then come back later. But the officer said since they were called out, state picked up the charges. I was not hoping, that's not what I wanted.
Okay. And you do want him to come home?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
And has this happened before?
I mean, we're a family. We're gonna have issues, but we're gonna work those out regardless. And we had an argument once before. We both went our separate ways and came back and talked it out later.
Okay. And well, let me just say that, I know that, families have their disagreements, but the allegations are that, he knocked some of your dentures out. So I don't know how natural a thing that is for families to be going through. I also know that Mr. Hooks is also has a curfew. Does he live with you?
Yes, he does.
Has he been abiding by
Yes,
the
he does.
curfew?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Every night.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Brooks. We appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, in light of what the alleged victim has said, we would be seeking a signature bond through pretrial, no further violent contact, obviously. He's 18 years old, but he tells me that his mother, Devon Brooks, who may live in the same location, I'm not sure, could co-sign if necessary.
Okay, what's the Ms. Hardy, do you know if he had on his last bond, did he have a co-signer?
Let me check one moment, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kevin Brooks, if he does need a co-signer, who would that be? Is that going to be your wife?
She signed for him last time. I don't have any problem coming up there to sign for him today. That is not a problem with me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Hardy. I've got my answer. It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Kevin Brooks. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hooks. You also, Mr. Brooks. Thank you for being here.
Your
Who do we
Honor,
have
is Mr. Brooks going to be the co-signer?
It appears so. Ms.
Okay.
Bridgewater.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can we go back to Alpharetta to the Spanish interpreter case?
Of course. So tell me who that is again, please.
That's going to be Ms. Perez, position 14.
Okay. Ms. Chansey, good afternoon. Thank you for being here this afternoon.
You're welcome, sir.
If you can raise your right hand for me, do you swear from that you will translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Perez Gutierrez. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007043C with battery and simple battery.
Buenas tardes, señor. I'm sorry, what was the first name, Your Honor?
Perez Gutierrez.
Thank you. Buenas tardes, señor Pérez Gutiérrez. En el caso 24 CR 007043, usted tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones y otro por golpes y lesiones simples.
Is there a history, Miss Hardy?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Hardy?
This defendant has one arrest cycle.
Este acusado ya tuvo un proceso de un ciclo.
Their last arrest was April the 2nd, 2011.
El último arresto fue el 2 de abril del 2011
out of Gwinnett County for theft by shoplifting.
en el condado de Gwinnett por robo de tiendas.
They do have that, they did get a misdemeanor conviction on that arrest.
Y hubo una sentencia por delito menor.
Nothing further.
Nada más.
Kratz, Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, this incident occurred on October 12th, 2024.
Este incidente ocurrió el 12 de octubre del 2024.
Officers were dispatched to 571 Huntington Place in Alpharetta in reference to a domestic dispute.
Huntington
Yes, Huntington Place.
Place, thank you.
Yes.
Este incidente ocurrió el 12 de octubre del 2024 cuando los oficiales fueron dirigidos al 571 de Huntington Place en Alpharetta debido a una disputa doméstica.
Upon arrival, they met with the victims, Antonia Gutierrez and Maidi Gutierrez.
What was the second first name?
M-A-Y. His second first name is M-A-Y-D-E.
Al llegar se encontraron con las víctimas Antonia Gutiérrez y Mayri Gutiérrez.
It was communicated to the officers that Antonia had advised her granddaughter not to play with the defendant, which started an argument.
Se le dijo a la policía que Antonia había dicho a la menor no jugar con el acusado, lo que comenzó la disputa.
At some point during the argument, the defendant jumped on top of Antonia and began hitting her with a closed fist.
En un punto en medio de la disputa, el acusado saltó sobre Antonia y golpeándola con el puño.
When the other victim saw the injuries on Antonia, she attempted to break up the fight, at which point the defendant began to pull her hair.
Víctor, I'm sorry, la otra víctima vio las lesiones que estaban siendo causadas en Antonia y trató de cortar la pelea cuando el acusado comenzó a tirar del cabello de ella.
Officers observed the visible marks on Antonia.
Y los oficiales observaron marcas físicas en el cuerpo de Antonia.
At this time, Your Honor, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond for the battery and a $1,000 surety bond for the simple battery for a total of $2,500.
En este momento, la fiscalía pide una fianza de $1,500 bajo garantía por golpes y lesiones y de $1,000 por el cargo de golpes y lesiones simples, con un total de $2,500.
At this time, Your Honor, our office has not been able to make contact with either victim. As such, we're asking for no further contact with the victims and a stay away.
Los oficiales hasta este momento no han podido contactarse con ninguna de las víctimas, por lo que solicitamos una orden de no tener más contacto con ninguna de ellas y también una orden de distanciamiento.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nada más, su señoría.
Ms. Chassie, would you please sound for Antonia Gutierrez and Maide Gutierrez?
¿Está Antonia Gutiérrez o Maide Gutiérrez presente en la plataforma de Zoom? Por favor, avísenos. Prenda su cámara, por favor. Antonia Gutiérrez y Maide Gutiérrez.
It doesn't appear that they're with us. Thank you.
No parecían estar.
Mr. McLean, is this your case?
Señor McLean, este es su caso.
Yes, Your Honor, it is. My client is working.
Sí.
My client is working for Fulton County serving food. She started a few weeks ago. Before that, she worked at Chick-fil-A for 9 months, and before that, Subway for 9 years. So she is a very industrious person. I don't think she has a record or much of one, because I think there was something about Macy's in 2011, and that is apparently it.
Un momento, one moment, please. Mi cliente trabaja en el condado de Fulton sirviendo comida. Trabajó para la compañía Chick-fil-A por 5 meses y Subway por 9 años. Por eso es una persona muy industriosa. Los antecedentes se refieren a Macy's en el año 2011.
I myself noted while reading the police report that the person interpreting for the police officer was one person. It made me wonder if everything was very accurate. Certainly, Ms. Perez says that this did not occur in that way whatsoever. Therefore,
One moment, please. He leído todo el informe policial y hubo un intérprete durante el incidente, el cual me hace que me pregunte si toda la interpretación fue exacta, ya que la señora Pérez dice que no sucedieron así el incidente.
not that today is the day to try the case, but Your Honor, from her relative lack of history and her industriousness, she is quite local, and so I would ask the court to grant her a signature bond.
Debido a que no es que yo quiera decir que hay que preparar este caso para ir a juicio, pero debido a que no hay antecedentes penales en este caso, mi cliente es una persona trabajadora y también establecida, pues por lo que yo solicito para ella una fianza bajo firma.
Well, that's all.
Y eso es todo.
Does she have a need to go back to the Huntington Place address, Mr. McLean?
Señor McLean, ¿necesita ella ir al domicilio de Huntington Place?
Your Honor, noted in the police report she came back with her husband. I don't know if they live in another location. I don't honestly know the answer to that question.
No sé la respuesta de esa pregunta pero sí sé que ella regresó ahí con su esposo, porque creo que ellos viven en otro lugar.
Could we ask Ms. Perez where she lives?
Señora Pérez, ¿a dónde vive usted?
Vivo en Roswell Creek,
I live at Roswell Creek,
801
801,
Park Ridge Lane,
perdón,
Park Ridge Lane.
Waits Lane?
No, Park Lane.
Oh, Park Lane,
Ridge.
Oh,
Park Lane Ridge,
Apartamento letra D,
apartment D,
Roswell, Georgia, 30076.
Roswell, Georgia, 30076.
It sounds like that is exactly the address noted on the PSA report. And,
Parece ser la dirección exacta escrita en el reporte policial.
and the apartment D is noted on the citation itself, so that sounds stable.
Eso parece correcto, ya que en el citatorio también la letra D aparece como el departamento.
But no, she doesn't have to go back to Huntington.
No, no necesita ella volver a la dirección de Huntington.
Okay, it will be for the battery, a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the simple battery, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Por el cargo de golpes y lesiones, es una multa de, perdón, una fianza de $1,500 por golpes y lesiones a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1. Por el segundo cargo de golpes y lesiones simples, una fianza de $500 va a ser una firma una fianza bajo firma de $2,000 en total a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1.
No further contact with Antonia or Maide Gutierrez.
Se prohíbe el contacto alguno con Antonia Gutiérrez o Mayre Gutiérrez.
Stay away from the Huntington Place address.
Y debe mantenerse distanciada de la dirección de Huntington Place.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Y se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
And again, that will be $1,500 for the battery, $500 for the simple battery, both through pretrial.
De nuevo, son $1,500 por golpes y lesiones, 500 por golpes y lesiones firmes, y esto a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1.
Good luck to you, ma'am.
Buena suerte, señora.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Gracias.
Welcome.
May the interpreter be dismissed, Your Honor?
I think we have one more, don't we?
We
We have
do.
another.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Chancey.
You're
not-
welcome. I thought it was only one. I'm sorry.
Is this,
In the next one, I need to interview the defendant through the interpreter. We had already, Ms. Perez's English was good enough for her. That was not necessary. But
So-
as
is the person in courtroom 1 here, Mr. McLean?
Yep, Your Honor, the only issue is all of the rest of the calendar is for McLean. Everyone that's left.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna have to get through the calendar first, Mr. McLean. Ms. Chancey, if you'll stay on
Yes,
with
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. No
Okay.
problem.
Officer Milton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Coming up is Ms. Steele, position 16.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Steele. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007041J with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 3 arrest cycles in Georgia. Their last arrest was August the 19th, 2021 out of Cobb County for an FTA. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Huda?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident did occur on October 12th of 2024. Officers from the Fairburn Police Department were called to 4584 Latana Court. Upon arrival, they spoke to Miss Carmela Steele, who is the mother of the defendant. Mom told officers that she noticed the defendant was in a verbal argument with her boyfriend while they were sitting out front of the house in a vehicle. Mom went outside to get the defendant and bring her back in the home. When the defendant got out of the car, she struck her mother in the face and then dragged her mother across the lawn. At that point, April Steele, who is the sister of the defendant, noticed her mom and her sister fighting and tried to separate them. The defendant struck her sister in the face multiple times with her cell phone. Officers noticed that April had a laceration and swelling to her upper lip, and mom, Miss Carmela, had minor bruising on her right arm. Your Honor, we did speak to Carmela and April earlier this morning. I believe they are on the Zoom and would probably like to make a statement. The state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond, $1,000 on the battery, $500 on this simple battery, no further violent contact. It's critically important that she have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond and follow any mental health recommendations. And I'd ask that you sound for the victims, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Carmela Steele, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, I need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, I can't, let me see, speak up. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. You can put your hand down, but I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. So something's going on with your sound, with your... Not sure what's going on with that. Do you have another device that you can jump on with? Okay, I'm going to let you do that, Ms. Steele, and I'm going to go to Mr. McLean while I try to get, while we try to hear you. Yes, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, let me get out of that screen, make sure I'm not muted. My client is a student at Metropolitan Atlanta College. The fall semester is starting and has started, and she is taking courses there. This is courses after high school. She works, she is unemployed at the moment, but she has worked from her home in the past as a tech support person for a company called Conduents, and she's skilled at that tech support. She has had Apple tech support contractor experience as well. She's in disagreement with the facts, and she would like to ask the court to give her a signature bond. If necessary, she doesn't have to stay at Lantana Court in Fairburn. She could go with the boyfriend or another friend, but it might not be necessary. Depends on the feelings of the family.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McLean. Let's see, Ms. Steele, let's see if we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
I can. So I've already sworn you in, Ms. Steele. I take it that you said yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Good afternoon, Judge. Just like Your Honor. So I would like to just tell I do want Kara to live here in the home. However, I do want her to be mandated to enter a substance abuse program. I work at Grady, and I've tried I have several attempts of trying to get Kara into a program. She won't go on her own. So maybe this right here is a teaching or an example for her to seek the help that she really needs.
Do you have a program that that you're trying to get her into? I mean, is there something specific that you have that she can go to?
Yes.
And if you want to put that in the chat for me, where that would be. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
Is this an outpatient program, Ms. Steele?
It is. It's a group. Actually, we have a group behavioral health group meeting. It's like once or twice a week.
Okay, and she lives with you at your home on the Lantana Court address?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. McLean?
I have not gotten a sense from the defendant, Ms. Steele, whether she needs that. We probably check on that.
Okay, well, at some point, if once you talk with her, you can seek to modify the bond, but at this time, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 for the battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 for the simple battery, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. no further violent contact with Miss Carmela or April Steele, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and that she is to attend this healthcare program at Grady. Let's see, Miss Bridgewater, can you get that out of the chat for me and place it on the order?
Yes, sir, I will.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, good luck to you both, Miss Steeles.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Do the same. Thank you for being here.
Next is position 18, Miss Thomas.
I've got her down. Is it got it down as Thompson? Is it Thompson?
We have one of each.
Blessed Thomas.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Blessed Thomas. Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Thomas. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007034Y with battery family violence. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor, this defendant has one arrest cycle. It was their last arrest out of Fulton County for battery family violence on July the 7th, 2024. And they're being supervised on pretrial, so we'll be surrendering the bond on that. The case number is 24 CR 00446-4A as in Apple. Nothing further to report.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Pratt Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on September 19th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 470 Oak Drive in reference to a dispute between the defendant and her sister Divine, who is a minor. Upon arriving, they spoke to the victim, and officers were advised that the defendant had struck Divine Thomas in the face with an open hand inside the home. The altercation took place in one of the bedrooms. When the victim was struck by the defendant, she then attempted to defend herself by fighting back, at which point the defendant pushed her onto the bed and used her nails to scratch her in the face. Officers, when speaking to Divine, were able to see the visual scratches on the victim's face. As pretrial has stated, there is one prior battery family violence where there was a no further violent contact with any person within the residence order given to the defendant at that time. And because of that, Your Honor, the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond. No further violent contact with the victim, anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and at an appropriate time, Your Honor, we would like to sound for the victim.
Okay. Do you have the previous bond order there for me?
I had it up, Your Honor. I apologize. I can't remember which. Yes, I do.
Okay. So, can just what were the conditions and what was the bond?
It was no further violent contact with Belinda Tompkins, I apologize, which is the defendant's mother. A curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and then no further violent contact with anyone in the home. 1 day anger awareness, and she was to stay enrolled in school, and that was a $2,000 looks like pretrial bond as well, Your Honor.
And who signed that bond?
I believe you did, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That's what I needed to know. Let's see. Miss Belinda, or is Divine a minor?
Divine is a minor, but I believe the mother was on.
Okay, and her name is Belinda?
Yes.
Okay, do we know the last name?
Thompson, she's on, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yes, Ms. Thompson. Good afternoon. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you could raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you for being here. I'm not sure if you're here the last time, but
I was.
Okay.
I was here.
And so I gave her a signature bond the last time. What's going on?
So since we were here last, I had gotten arrested into some therapy. The family also, we have family therapy as well. The day that the incident occurred, she had the day before just had a therapy session. I've been told since that like sometimes those sessions can be a little triggering and like there need to be some things like some activities or something to be doing afterwards. It's a process that we're in. She's not a real violent person. She's not a violent person. I know this sounds bad. I know this sounds bad, but we're a family and we're trying to get our family together. It's family problems and we're working on it. Everybody has their own issues and we're dealing with it. And we're dedicated to working on it as a family. I hate that we've come here twice, but we're really in a process of just working our problems out. You know, people are getting older, there's hormones, there's a lot of stuff just going on. And I know I've said to you before the last time, I'm a single parent and I also don't have many supports. So I'm grateful for the agency that we're with right now, which is the ACE Community Support Services for my family. I really, from the beginning, was hoping from the first incident to get supports for my family, not for anyone to be necessarily being treated as a criminal, if that makes sense. And that's really all I have to say. Like, my daughter has to finish school. We're out on break right now. I'm hoping that, you know, we can get this done so she can get back to school. I just heard that she's with child now. It's just a lot going on, you know. But there's no threats really inside of the home. I know this looks bad, but we don't.
So you want her back in the household.
I do.
And from the last time, it sounds like she's working some type of program that she's going to. Okay.
Yes.
So I am concerned about, you know, you, Miss Belinda, and I'm also concerned about Divine. How old is Divine?
Divine is 14.
Okay. So I don't want any harm to come to either you or Divine, but if you tell me that you're trying to work with or that you are working with Blessed and that she is in a program, I will,
Yes,
and that you want to continue to try to do that, I will allow it. Is that what you want? Is that what you want me to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
Ron.
I'm gonna do this one more time, but I can't keep having her back here.
I understand.
But I will give her another opportunity because you're here and you're letting me know that she has been doing what I asked her to do the last time, pretty much. Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So
Thank you.
all right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Miss Belinda.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McLean.
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to allow the family to continue to try to work with this. So it'll be it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further violent contact with Miss Belinda or Miss Divine. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And pretrial, I would prefer that that you not surrender that bond at the present time and continue to have them monitored through pretrial.
Okay, Your Honor.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, good luck to you all. Blessed, I'm hoping I don't see you back here, okay? Because your mom's here and because she's telling me the things that she's telling me about you, I'm going to let you continue to try to work on yourself and stay in school, okay?
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you all.
Oh, Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. McClure.
Just one point of clarity. My client's last name is Thomas, is that correct? But her mother's last name is Tompkins or Thompson?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And
So
they're
that's
not related to the other Thompson at all. Okay, thank you.
Right. That was why I was, I was confused, but I think we have it right now. All right. Thank you all. Who do we have next?
This is going to be position number 13, Mr. Melise.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Melise. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007037F with one misdemeanor offense and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant has 31 arrest cycles. Last arrest was September 5th, 2024 out of Fulton County for obstruction. There was a guilty conviction on that one. The case number was 24 CR 006300E. Misdemeanor conviction in 2019 for disorderly conduct, 2015 criminal trespass, 2014 criminal trespass and obstruction, 2013 criminal trespass. Nothing further to report.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would also note that there is a prior PI conviction from 2007 as well. In this case, officers were called to 7 Drive in the city of Atlanta. This actually happened back on September 30th of 2024. Officers spoke to Davia, D-A-V-I-A, McKenzie, who said that there was a man wearing a gray shirt, black pants, who was acting inappropriately on her front door step. It was recorded on her Ring camera. Officers made contact with the defendant in the complex, and he had to be physically dragged to the patrol car and was ultimately taken to Grady for MH treatment. Your Honor, because of his open willful obstructions in DeKalb County, his FTA in 2023, and his prior PI from 2007, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from 741 Morosco, Morosgo Drive in the city of Atlanta, and a social worker visit, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, social worker visit sounds completely appropriate. I am glad that almost all of the previous arrests have some time on them, and I am concerned, of course, about the one that is the most recent. But nonetheless, his address is way over in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and if Your Honor were to grant him a signature bond, there would be a wide swath that Your Honor could tell him not to go to, and that might obviate the problem. But the social worker visit, I think, is advisable so that we can see if there's anything the social worker would think would be necessary in the way of evaluations and treatment and such.
Okay. For each charge, it'll be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Morosco Drive address, no further contact with Ms. McKenzie, a social worker visit, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Melise.
Next is gonna be position number 18, Mr. Laquan Thompson.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, good afternoon. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007036E with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was July 27th, 2024, out of Fulton County for a probation violation. The underlying charge was forgery. They have a total of 32 arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2019 for a CWAC charge, 2018 criminal trespass, 2017 simple battery. There's a felony conviction in 2017 for obstruction, 2024 burglary and possession of tools, as well as criminal damage to property. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Pratt Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on October 12th, 2024. Officers responded to the target at 2539 Piedmont Road Northeast in Atlanta in reference to a trespasser. Upon arrival, they met with the security officers of that location who advised that the defendant had been previously trespassed and had been told not to return, at which point he was subsequently arrested, Your Honor. In addition to what pretrial has stated, when I pull GCIC, I see multiple criminal trespass charges in 2020, as well as one in 2023. And due to his criminal history, Your Honor, at this time, the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond and a stay away from the incident location.
Okay, Mr. McLean?
Now we're on Mr. Thomas's case. Is that correct?
Yes.
I thought so. I was following along that. So, Your Honor, he does have a he's got a cousin with a good address. He graduated from McNair High School. He's got a good Gmail. He's got a good email address, and he is also, I think, stable in terms of basically he's a local Atlanta person, Atlanta metro area. I don't think there would be any problems with him coming to court. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond at this time.
It'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the target on Piedmont Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Thompson.
Next, we're gonna go to position 19, Walford. We'll go to the third one.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wolford. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007039B with battery, family violence, and obstructing or hindering a person making an emergency telephone call. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant does not have any history to report at this time.
Ms. Pratt Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on October 12th, 2024. On that date, officers were dispatched to 901 Bolton Road, apartment G2, for a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim, Ms. Keely Wolford, which is the defendant's wife. She informed the officers that approximately 1:30 that morning, the two were in a verbal dispute when the defendant became violent and began hitting her in the face and head with closed fists. He then pushed her to the ground and continued to hit her. She stated she tried to get up and leave the room. However, he had locked the door, preventing her from leaving. At that time, she told the officers that their 9-month-old child was also in the room when this incident occurred. When the defendant stopped hitting her, she then told him to leave and grabbed her phone to call 911, at which point he snatched the phone from her, preventing her from making that call. He then took the other phones that were in the house as well and left. While speaking to the victim, officers were able to see the visual injuries on the victim. She had a swollen lip and a laceration in the inside of her lip, as well as bruises on the right side of her forehead, and she complained of body aches. At this time, Your Honor, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond for the battery and a $1,500 surety bond for the obstructing or hindering making a 911 call. No further contact with the victim, to stay away from the incident location. Family violence intervention program, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon. And at the appropriate time, Your Honor, we ask that you sound for the victim.
Ms. Wolford, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself and I'll have to swear you in. You would not like to address the court this afternoon? Okay. Let me just ask you one question. Do you want him to stay away from you and your residents at the present time? Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Wolford. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, we owe candor to the court, and out of my client's own honesty, he says he did have some past, but it was way in the past. Your Honor, he works at the High Grove Partners. They spray chemicals. He drives a truck that has the ability to spray chemicals in a certain direction, and they spray pesticides and things that make things grow. And he gave me everything about his job and his supervisor, etc. He graduated from high school and also had a little bit of college. He's 47 years old. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond.
Okay, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 for the obstructing. $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ketty Wolford. Stay away from the Bolton Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Wolford. You also.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, can we go to the add-on? It's gonna be Mr. William Edwards.
Okay,
Edwards. Come on.
While they're doing that, should we start the Reyes?
do you want him to go to the breakout room?
No, he can
No,
do it.
okay.
Yeah, he can do it in here.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Good afternoon, Mr. Edwards. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007052Y with criminal trespass and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor, the last arrest for this defendant was October 19th, 2023, out of Fulton County for a probation violation. They have a total of 74 arrest cycles in Georgia. A felony conviction in 2019 for possession of tools and theft by taking. 2010, possession of cocaine. A misdemeanor conviction in 2019 for possession and use of drug-related objects and criminal trespass. 2018, theft by taking and obstruction. 2017, criminal trespass. 2012, reckless conduct. Nothing further to report.
Stesiana?
Your Honor, this incident happened on the 13th at the Family Apartments, which is located at 251 10th Street and is actually owned by Georgia Tech property. It was about 5 in the morning. An officer responded to a suspicious person's call at that location. The officer made contact with the defendant, asked for identification. He was essentially caught on camera looking at bikes in the racks. He told the officer he didn't have his ID and verbally gave his name as Andre Martin, which came back on the GCIC as an alias for the defendant's actual name. And the officer discovered that the defendant had been issued a lifetime criminal trespass warning from Georgia Tech property. When pretrial was stating his previous theft cases, many of those occurred on Georgia Tech property, hence why he's been criminally trespassed from there. He was placed under arrest in a search incident to arrest. He was in possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. Your Honor, given his history, the state's requesting a $1,000 surety bond on the criminal trespass and a signature bond through the jail on the marijuana. Another stay away from Georgia Tech property, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Okay.
Yes, but Your Honor, my client is 58 years old. He's not working, so he has no savings as well. We have obviously have no objection to signature bonds to the jail for the marijuana charge. We would have no objection to the stay away. We would like to keep the bond on the criminal trespass as low as possible. I suspect he's restricted for the SOB, but we would ask for a signature only bond through pretrial on that charge.
You have a place to reside, Mr. Cook?
He gave me a good address. And I looked it up, so that's where he says he lives. I can provide.
I mean, if need be, we can assist him with getting housing if that's an issue.
He said it was not. I can get social workers to go out there and talk to him further. But he gave me an address and he says it's his address. So
Okay. All right, so for the criminal trespass, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. For the marijuana, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. Makes for a total of $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from all Georgia Tech properties, specifically the 251 10th Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Edwards, I'm going to let you out, but if you go back to Georgia Tech and you come back here, I'm not going to let you out the next time, okay? Make sure you show up for your next court date. He has a question, Mr. Cook.
Mr. Edwards, you've been given a signature bond. I don't know what more you could want. We're not going to adjudicate the case today. So I would not speak at this point. You can speak during the process of your case.
Your Honor.
Yes.
He's gonna need that police escort.
Oh, police escort where?
He said his property's over there.
Oh, I don't. Unless I missed something, there would be nothing he would go back to.
Yeah, it's college campus housing.
So I guess, I don't know if he has property with the, police station over there. Oh, yeah, that's where it's at.
Do we know the address of the police station? Well, I mean, I'll allow him to go to the police station to retrieve any property that he has there, but you have to go with a police escort, wherever that is, so.
You gotta go with the police, okay?
Is it property he was arrested with? Because the jail should have that, right?
All right, so wherever it is, he's gonna need a police escort. So I'm not sure if he thinks that he has something on the Georgia Tech property from Georgia Tech police or not, but if he does, he can go with a police escort to retrieve it. Okay. Who do we have next?
Come over. We can actually do the waiver.
Okay, is that Brown?
Yes.
Okay, that's position number 3. Emmanuel Brown, who's charged in case 24 CR 007045H with terroristic threats, reckless conduct, 2 counts. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant has 15 arrest cycles in Georgia. Last arrest was September 8th, 2024 out of South Fulton for criminal trespass and disorderly conduct. It appears that they're on probation for that. The number is 24 CR 005860H. And there's a felony conviction from 2011 for forgery. Nothing further to report.
Stesiano?
Your Honor, so I'm showing that, so this individual was on the SAP calendar on August 27th. At that point, he had 12 cycles. He now has 16 cycles. It's been a month. I'm showing his last arrest was October 10th for disorderly conduct out of South Fulton. Well, let's just say since he was released from jail after he pled out in SAP, he was arrested on September 7th for disorderly conduct and criminal trespass out of South Fulton. Then he was released from jail and arrested the very next day on the 8th for criminal trespass out of South Fulton. And then he was released from jail and then arrested again on October 10th for disorderly conduct. And of course, he is on probation because he did just plea out on SAP to simple battery and criminal trespass for spitting in an officer's face. And in that case, he was ordered to take anger management. He's also on probation. He pled out on SAP on February 8th of 2024 to criminal trespass and 2 counts of simple battery and 24 CR 455J. In that case, he struck his ex-girlfriend and smashed a windshield. He was ordered to complete DVIP. This incident happened on October 12th, so it would have been right after he got released from the South Fulton jail on the 10th. Officers were dispatched to 2220 Jonesboro Road, Suite 101A in reference to a structure fire. Upon arrival, the officers made contact with the defendant. He had started the fire. This particular unit in this business park was in what they described as an abandoned building. I don't know if it was abandoned or vacant, but he started a fire close to that building. He was detained during that incident, and while he was being detained, the fire department was en route to put out the fire when they advised that there was actually another fire that had been set and then left unattended next to the permanently closed Waffle House at 915 Evander Holyfield Highway. So he's charged with 2 counts of reckless conduct for both of those fires, one of them for setting it near a building and then leaving it, and then one for setting it near a building. The fire department, of course, advised that this could have been a major fire had it been left for any longer period of time. While on scene, the defendant was extremely disorderly while being arrested. He told the officer, Tyresha Wyatt, several times, "Bitch, I'm going to kill you before the night is over." We certainly don't have all the evidence yet, but if the evidence shows that there was corroboration of a threat of death, then we will be requesting that this case be transferred to Superior Court. But nonetheless, he's been arrested 4 times in the last month, Your Honor, for very similar disorderly criminal trespass type things on probation in 2 different cases for harming other individuals. We would certainly argue that setting fires to random things is very dangerous to the community, and there's a huge risk of reoffense here. So we would be asking for a $6,000 good bond. That would be $2,000 on each count. Stay away from the business park at 2220 Jonesboro Road, including the abandoned building, but there's also several other businesses there. There's a Mr. Everything Cafe, Sugar Plum Events, there's a nail salon. Another, stay away from that Waffle House location at 915 Evander Holyfield Highway. We're also asking for a BHET. From what I can tell from his previous cases in state court, one's never been done. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Okay, I recognize Mr. Brown from our competency calendars, so I'm not sure
okay.
if one has been done or not, but I think that he's been with us on the competency calendars before. Mr. Cook, is this your
Yes,
case?
sure. Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. He gave me a good address. He has no phone. He did give me the name of a relative as his reference contact. We certainly would not have any objection to a BHET. It sounds like he's already probably been down that road or something similar to have gotten to a competency calendar. Beyond that, given his lack of income, we would just simply ask for the lowest possible bond. Doesn't sound like a signature bond would be considered, but the lowest possible surety bond that the court would consider.
Okay. Ms. Bridgewater, are you with me? Ms. Bridgewater?
Yes, sir, I'm with you.
Can we get him on the competency calendar on Thursday, the 24th?
Certainly.
Okay, so I'd like to put him back on the competency calendar because I believe that I recognize him from that calendar before. There'll be $1,000 good bond per charge, makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. Stay away from the Jonesboro Road address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and placed on the October 24th competency calendar.
Will do.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see, so I guess the last one that we have needs the breakout room.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, so if we can, we'll just go ahead and place Mr. McLean, Ms. Chancey, and courtroom 2 into a breakout room. And I guess we will be in recess until they return to us.
For God's sake. Tell me what you want. And don't tell me. No problem. Well, it's so great. Yeah, then they're done. Appears that I did. I don't understand how we went back. It's wonderful. No, because we have experience. That's what made it matter.
You know you're not muted, Mr. Cook.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'd love to hear you sing. Okay, are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, courtroom 2 is still mute. Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Hey, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good. Good afternoon. Excuse me, Mr. Reyes.
I think we're still waiting for Mike.
Okay, thank you.
I could sing some more, but that might be contempt of court. I'm not sure if they'd want me to sing anymore.
You might get a YouTube contract, Mr. Cook.
Disturbing the peace, maybe, but no YouTube content.
Jordan, can we see if we can pull him out of the breakout room if he's still in the breakout?
I think McLean got lost in the shuffle, Your Honor.
Appears so. I mean, only so many places you can go.
Right.
And Your Honor, I don't know how long Mr. McLean will be. Oh, there he is. Okay.
There he is. Are we ready, Mr. McLean?
Your microphone, sir.
Oh, I don't know why it mutes it when coming out of a breakout room. But yes.
Okay. All right. I think we're all here now. Good afternoon, Mr. Reyes. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007038E with loitering and prowling and giving false information to law enforcement.
Buenas tardes, señor Reyes. En su caso 24 CR 007038E, usted tiene un cargo por merodeo penal y por otorgar falsa información a un oficial de policía.
Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Hardy?
This defendant has one arrest cycle out of Massachusetts.
Este acusado tiene un ciclo de arresto en Massachusetts.
That arrest was on December the 7th, 2021.
Que ocurrió el arresto el 7 de diciembre del 2021.
Out of New Bedford, Massachusetts for unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the name of the city?
New Bedford.
En la ciudad de New Bedford, en donde se otorgó un cargo por manejar un vehículo sin licencia.
Nothing further to report.
Nada más para informar.
Ms. Hudak?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident did occur on October 13th, 2024.
Este incidente ocurrió el 13 de octubre del 2024.
At 3:30 in the morning, Alpharetta police officer was notified by a colleague on patrol that a vehicle had just pulled into the Malcolm Cunningham Chevrolet.
Este incidente ocurrió a las 3:30 de la mañana en Alpharetta, en donde el oficial de policía recibió un llamado de un vehículo en el área de Malcolm Cunningham Chevrolet.
The officer immediately headed to the business as he was aware of recent car break-ins.
el oficial de policía se dirigió hacia el lugar inmediatamente debido a que es común que haya intento de robo o de entrada ilegal en el lugar.
The officer made contact with the defendant who pretended to be asleep. This made the officer suspicious because it had only been 3 or 4 minutes since the vehicle was reported pulling into the lot.
El oficial de policía contactó al acusado, quien fingió estar durmiendo, lo que se vio sospechoso debido a que le habían informado al oficial que el vehículo había entrado unos 3 o 4 minutos antes al lugar.
Upon waking the defendant and asking him why he was there, which the defendant could not answer, he then asked him for identification.
El oficial de policía los despertó y preguntó por qué estaba allí. No hubo una respuesta, a lo que el oficial procedió a pedir una identificación.
The defendant provided a Honduran passport for a Jose Castellanos, which the officer realized was clearly a different person.
El acusado ofreció un pasaporte hondureño con el nombre de José Castellano y cuando el oficial se dio cuenta de que no se trataba de la misma persona.
The officer asked the defendant his name. He said it was Jose.
El policía preguntó cuál era el nombre y él dijo José.
The officer then asked him his birthday, and the defendant said he didn't know. The defendant was ultimately arrested and identified as Mr. Reyes by the passenger and paperwork that was later found in the vehicle.
El oficial de policía le preguntó la fecha de nacimiento, a lo cual contestó que no los recordaba. Entonces el acusado fue arrestado y reconocido como Juan Reyes, por el pasajero que estaba en el auto y por el papeleo encontrado dentro del vehículo.
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 signature bond, $1,000 on each count, and a stay away from Malcolm Cunningham Chevrolet, located at 2175 Mansell Road, Mansell.
La recomendación de la fiscalía es una fianza bajo firma de $2,000, $1,000 por cada cargo y una orden de distanciamiento de el Malcolm Cunningham concesionaria que está localizada en el 2175 de Mansell Road.
I believe my client would have no objection.
Creo que mi cliente no tendrá ninguna objeción.
Mr. Reyes, do you understand your obligation to continue to monitor your mail on Frank Place in Marietta?
Señor Reyes, ¿usted entiende que tiene una obligación de revisar la correspondencia que le llegue a la calle Franks Street?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, that's all we have, Your Honor. I think
Eso es todo.
it was a very interesting case because of the language barrier that would have been at the time of arrest. But with that being the recommendation, we have no objection.
Fue un caso muy interesante debido a la posibilidad de la barrera del lenguaje que pudo haber existido en el momento del arresto, pero después de lo declarado no hay más nada que decir.
As long as my client understands the case is not over and he must watch his mail carefully, we're good.
Mientras que mi cliente, el señor Reyes, entienda de que este caso no es terminado hoy y que continúa y es importante que monitoree su correspondencia en la dirección mencionada.
Okay.
¿Lo entiende, señor? The microphone is, ¿lo entiende? Sí? Yes.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each count. Makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Malcolm Cunningham Chevrolet dealership. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Muy bien, entonces será una fianza de $1,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel por cada cargo, dando un total de una fianza de $2,000 a través de la cárcel. Tiene una orden de distanciamiento del Malcolm Cunningham Chevrolet, la concesionaria, y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, Mr. Reyes.
Buena suerte, señor Reyes.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Chancey. We
You're
appreciate you.
welcome, sir. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You do. I believe that completes the calendar, Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be October the 29th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. Position 2 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 3 is going to the competency calendar on October 24th with a total $3,000 good bond. Judge Morrow, were you aware Judge Law is doing that calendar, or did you want it specifically for you?
No, she normally does Thursday, so
Okay.
I don't need it to be for me. Thank you.
Okay. Position number 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 6 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 7, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 8 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $250 good bond. 11 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. And he also has a co-signer of Kevin Brooks. 12 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 14, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 15, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 16, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 17 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 18, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through pretrial. 19 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. And for the add-on case, it's reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Okay, if not, everyone have a good rest of your day. I will see y'all tomorrow.
Okay.
All
Goodbye.
right.
Thank you. Bye.